It's time for Screen Junkies Movie Fights.
What up, Movie Fights Live? Here we are doing it pre-taped. Gotta love it. Hope you had a Merry Christmas, Happy Holiday. Thanks for joining us today. And I gotta give a shout out to my Gahooligans. Where are my Gahooligans at? Hoot hoot, Owl Nation, hashtag Percival the Owl. Today we've got an epic battle. We are going to figure out what the greatest franchise possibly of all time is, and we've got some formidable fighters representing each franchise. First off, he is a former Movie Fights champion of the world from Perception Studio on Twitch, representing Lord of the Rings, Cucumber.
That's right. Hi, everybody. How we doing?
Cucumber,
Yes,
word on the street is that you're wearing a new sweater, huh?
I am. Yeah, this is from my friend Cam Crochets from Denmark. She handmade that for me.
All right, looking good, looking good. You ready to bring
I
it?
feel like the X was unnecessarily in large all caps. I don't think that was entirely called for, but great.
I mean, you know, it was a short title reign. But maybe today you can redeem yourself a little bit. Oh, always love having this gentleman in studio. You know him from all over the place, Schmoes, Collider, and the Force Center podcast. He is one of the esteemed premier Star Wars heads around, and he's going to be repping Star Wars today, Ken NAPZOK.
So happy to be back here. Honored to be in the presence of a former champion like Cucumber. It's actually, I take that with a lot of honor and esteem, and I haven't been back here in a while. I left a typewriter here. Can I grab it? It's probably somewhere around there.
I sold it, but...
Okay, that's fair.
Oh, yeah. Cucumber is on that thing. You turn the other way, Cucumber is on it. And Ken, word on the street is you are the worst motivational speaker on the internet. We'll see if you're any better of a movie fighter
Absolutely.
today. Last but not least, you know him from all around here, producer extraordinaire and the host of Hot Takes with Billy Biz. We'll see about his hot takes today, representing the MCU, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Billy Biz Patterson. Billy.
Cuke,
Yes,
Kenjamin, it is my honor to be fighting with you guys today. I just want to say I love Lord of the Rings. I love Star Wars. There's going to be a lot of hyperbole coming out of this mouth today, so be
you
ready
could just
for it.
forfeit now. I'm fine with that.
Oh, throwing it down, Cucumber. All right, so again, we have Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, and the MCU in a collision, a three-way collision. We'll see who comes out on top. And deciding who comes out on top, we got myself and the Dan Cam. What up, Dans?
Hello, Hal.
Dan Merle, how you feeling, man?
I'm feeling good, Hal. You know, I love the outfit I wore last week on Movie Fights, or 2 weeks ago.
Yeah,
I decided to wear it again.
We both decided that we just looked so good.
Yeah.
So it's so nice we did it twice.
I watched it back, and I was very happy with my appearance.
I merely changed my T-shirt. Oh, and I changed my lapel pin
Oh, there you
from
go.
a face hugger from Alien to the creature from the Black Lagoon. But yeah, here's the T-shirt I was wearing moments ago. Because we're shooting them back to back, baby. Hey, Dan, Christmas was supposedly 2 days ago. Did you have a good Christmas?
Hal, I had the best Christmas. I can't wait to have been home for it.
Oh, I can share something nice. So y'all should check my feed because Dan and Mara got me the best. I left it in the bag. They got me the best Christmas present. I'll bring it out for photos later. It is a snow globe with a golden corgi, and then you flip it, and it's all gold glitter, and it's the best thing in the entire world. And I haven't stopped taking pictures of it since I got it.
Dan, you and Mara now are on the hook for
I know, right?
well played, Daniel Radford. I like your style. All right, so
Thoughtful gifts.
again, we have 3 regular round questions, and then from there, the top 2 performers will move on to the speed round. The first player to get 4 points wins. And a player can be down 3-0 going in the speed round and make a furious comeback. It is possible. Y'all ready for this?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. JTE, drop that sick-ass package.
Prepare to die. Ladies and gentlemen. No.
It's main event time.
Finish him!
All right, thank you, Thor. Whew. Good questions, good stuff here. I cannot wait. This is what an exciting battle. All right, question number 1. Which franchise has the best villain? Which franchise has the best villain? And we're going to hear about each villain, all three of these franchises. Wow. Start off with Cucumber, player number one.
All right. Well, obviously the best villain in any franchise ever would be Saruman from The Lord of the Rings. Not Sauron. While he is a wonderful, strong force, he's not at his full height. But Saruman is the problem solver. His name means Man of Steel. He is the baddest Maiar to come from the Undying Lands. He played the White Council and the Fellowship and everybody else for fools. He brought industrialization to Middle-earth, crafted machines of war. He perfected the Uruk-hai so they could run in the daylight. He was a genius. At Helm's Deep, he is the person who impregnated Helm's Deep. He found a way to smash the wall, created explosives to make that happen. He controlled Rohan from a distance. He was able to, he was all over the place. He played everything like a chess game, but all of his pieces were queens, man.
All right, wow. That's a good line, Cucumber. All right, Cucumber starting us off with Saruman. Ken.
I'm already greatly intimidated by what Cucumber has brought to the table, and Saruman's a great villain. I absolutely love Christopher Lee in this role, but I'm talking Star Wars. I'm representing Star Wars. The greatest villain of all time is Darth Sidious, Emperor Sheev Palpatine. We're not going Vader here. Vader was his number two. Vader actually had a whole separate story fighting himself. Palpatine is the Phantom Menace. What that means is he's been controlling things from almost the beginning. He is the one who kind of instituted all these problems in the government, the Trade Federation thing here. And this isn't let's not worry about the prequel talks and the prequel bashing. Let's talk about the story. He got himself elected. He got Chancellor of Valorum pushed out. He takes over, forms his galactic empire, and then he's also bringing back the Sith, something that had been dormant for 1,000 years. He is the one that is controlling. He built this empire. He is the biggest bad of all time.
All right. Ken coming strong with Emperor Palpatine. Billy.
I don't think it comes as a surprise to anyone that in the long MCU, they kind of had a little bit of a villain problem. Maybe not the best villains. But then what Marvel did was they doubled down on one guy. And this guy not only became the greatest villain in all of the MCU, he became the greatest villain of all time. And of course, I'm talking about the Mad Titan, Thanos. Now, what makes Thanos such a great villain is that you can kind of see where he's coming from. I want the pathos of a great villain is one where they are the hero of their story. And for Thanos, he's not doing this because he just wants the power or because he wants to sit in his tower with his white muumuu on, sucking up to an eyeball. He wants to do something that he believes is for the greater good. That makes him more dangerous as a villain because nothing will stop him from completing his mission. And he is the only villain here that won. He wiped out half of all life in the universe. He's the greatest villain of all time.
Ooh, three truly great villains. Fight it out.
Well, you say he won, but we got one half of a story. So
Right.
I don't know the snapping while brief and everything. Well, here's the other thing. He's not even a. He was merciful. It was quick and painless. He didn't really do anything bad. I think the only true villain
Have
in
you
that
been
movie.
disintegrated? You tell me how that feels.
It lasts like
Second of
5
all,
seconds,
when-
and no one was like, "Ow, the pain." They're like, "Oh, I feel funny." Bye.
I don't ask Peter Parker, man. He seemed to be feeling it big time. Also, I would say anything that you say past this is all speculation because none of us know what's going to happen in Endgame. We can only look up to what we've seen, and I'm talking specifically about Avengers: Infinity War. And in that case, he did his mission. He wasn't merciful. Are you kidding me? He beat the crap out of the Hulk because let Master have his fun. He's also a sadistic psychopath that just so happened to use his cruelty to get what he wants. Now, here's what I have to say about the Emperor. I love the Emperor.
Yeah, you should.
I do.
He's the best villain of all time.
But he's a one-note villain. Vader,
One
if you
note.
had chose Vader, I would have said, yes, that is one of the greatest villains. But here's the thing.
Yeah.
The Emperor's not really around for most of it. He only shows up in the original trilogy in Return of the Jedi, and even then, he's kind of murked by a half robot dude in 10 seconds when he chooses it.
Billy,
Benjamin.
the best way to show your power is through delegation. He didn't need to sit on the day-to-day operations. He sat in his own room. He was studying the occult. He was trying to find out more secrets of the dark side, investigating things in the unknown regions. And he had Tarkin. He had all these people running it. And, as far as Thanos Thanos there. You know, Thanos, I agree, he's strong, he's tough, but man, he's mopey. He just wants to sit at a campfire staring out and have some kind of soul-searching thing at the end. Cucumber's right. The story's not finished. I can't hold that against you. I think in the MCU, the greatest villain is ourselves. It's the Avengers fight. Star-Lord would have defeated Thanos if he just hadn't been obsessed with stupid little things. And I think that just kind of, it just ends in a...
So wait, if you're saying the Emperor is a delegator, then he's a terrible delegator because he puts people in charge who get Death Stars blown up. He literally has to tell Vader, he tells him go do something, and it's literally a line in the dialogue where he's like, I told you to stay on the ship. He can't even get his dudes in line. He's not a good delegator. What he is, he's the luckiest son of a bitch in that galaxy because his plan is so batshit bonkers the way that he gets himself into power that only a miracle would have gotten all those pieces in together. Now, Saruman...
Miracle of Force. Yes, let's turn to Saruman.
Had you chosen Sauron, maybe I would have believed you. But Saruman, especially if we're just talking about the films, does nothing. All he does is sit back and
lets... He brings down a mountain?
All he does is fight another old dude and then falls on a spike
you mean
at the
whooping
very
the ass
end.
of another wizard all across that tower? Yeah. Oh, yeah, he can do anything. He feeds people to the orcs.
He does do that.
Yeah,
and he created the orc. There's a lot of
orcs are
great things
scarier.
about Saruman, and I love the great point about Rohan. But that ended in a quick little, Gandalf shows up and, you're not part of man from his walking
the
stick.
second finger poke of doom.
But I do believe that Saruman was just working for Sauron. I think that was the guy providing
Incorrect. He is a double backstabber. He is actually known as thrice damned Saruman because his whole plan was to try and usurp the power from Sauron himself.
But look, again, we have to draw from the films, and at no point did I ever feel like Saruman was ever in a position where he could have anything but a kiss-ass session with Sauron. He was never in a position where he was ever going to take over from Sauron because he was never really that powerful. He has this great Hitler-esque speech, and you think, wow, that guy's really scary. But then he does nothing. He's so inconsequential to those films that they didn't even bother to put his demise into the theatrical cut of Return of the King.
His lasting effects on the world, though, continue to crumble Middle-earth well into the future. His introduction of industrialization to that world...
He is Middle-earth, middle management. Sauron is... His Sauron's plan is much more damning and long-lasting than anything Saruman was just the vessel of which Sauron's plan...
Sauron's a spooky ghost at this point. That's why I picked Sauron.
Thanos.
But people are focused. People are focused on Sauron versus Saruman. They're looking at that end game. The old guy in the robes. They're like, we'll send some trees after you. Throw some rocks at your people. We want the end game's really the big guy with the eye.
Thanos doesn't need his Darth Vader. He doesn't need the orcs. He'll just go do everything himself. It was Thanos that snapped at the end. It wasn't Saruman. It wasn't Vader. It was Thanos. It's one dude, one singular guy, one singular plan, a plan of action that worked.
But the Palpatine's figurative foot on the galaxy was what created so many other problems too. He's not just a villain to the rebels; he's a villain to the planets who saw their systems just kind of wiped away by the Empire.
Really, because everyone loved him when he became the Emperor. In fact, he doesn't dissolve the Council or the Imperial Senate until 20+ years later.
Yeah, because a lot of people were like, "Well,
that's
at least he keeps the space trains running on time, so I think we're okay here.
Yeah,
it's a safe and
that
secure
doesn't sound
society."
like a villain to me. That sounds like someone that we should invest in our leadership.
All right, let's shift gears here. Cucumber, go ahead and give us your final thoughts on your choice.
I would say that the reach of Sauron would not have ever gone very far past Mordor without the help of Saruman and Isengard, and the way that he upgraded basically every technology of evil along with the genetics of evil when it comes to the Uruk-hai. He was able to burn down half of Fangorn Forest. He tainted governments. He did all sorts of things just sitting in his little happy butt, and when he was challenged, he smacked around the only wizard who should have been able to do something about it. I think that he is definitely pure evil and greed and power hungry.
All right, thank you, Cucumber.
Thank you.
Ken Napzok.
Hal Rudnick and the world, we all know that a hero and a story is only as good as its villain. And for over 40 years, the Star Wars heroes have been fighting the Galactic Empire. The Galactic Empire was the vision of one man, Sheev Palpatine. He is a power. He has unlimited power. And we know that he was the one who was behind it all, that created the oppression of the galaxy and created the empire that the rebels needed to take down. You're not just rooting for the rebels to win, you're rooting for Palpatine to lose.
Thank you, Ken. Billy Biz.
Again, I think Saruman is, if the question was who's the best henchman, I think Saruman would have been a great choice. But let's face it, he is nothing more than a useless vessel of Sauron, who is the real villain of that story. And Saruman, even the filmmakers didn't care enough about him to finish off his story in the theatrical cut. For the Emperor, he's really no different than any other politician. Yeah, he had a little bit of a corrupted election. He got himself in power. He kept the trains are running on time, as you said. He doesn't really show up till the 6th movie. By that point, everyone already thinks that Darth Vader's already the main guy. And when he showed up to become Palpatine in the prequels, he overacted like crazy. No, you will die. It's silly by that point. Not the greatest villain. Thanos, we had been waiting almost 10 years to see what he was going to be up to. He did not disappoint. Thanos is a psychopath, but he thinks he is doing the right thing. That makes an interesting villain, and he's such a good villain that the heroes of our story could not defeat him.
Time. How about it? Quite a throwdown. Dan Murrow, factually, where you at?
I mean, everybody came to represent their respective franchises, and everybody pretty much brought their facts.
I mean, y'all know these franchises.
Yeah.
It's pretty great.
It's like, Cucumber was dropping a lot of them.
I'm 90% sure
cuts in
Cucumber
there.
speaks Elvish.
Yes.
Quenya or Cinderin?
Damn. All right.
Well played. Dan Murrow, why don't you go ahead and give us your thoughts on this
Wowzers.
first round match?
I mean, so much knowledge and passion behind them. I think Ken left himself. Ken propped the door open, and then Billy kicked that door open by bringing in the worst aspects of the Emperor, which I think were unlimited power and the prequel version and the overacting. And in a game of inches, I think if you give that up, then it's just enough for me to take it down between Cucumber and Billy. And it's very, very close. And I think that if it were a knowledge competition, that I would probably give it to Cucumber. But I think Billy brought a lot of passion. This is very close. Brought a lot of passion for Thanos. And so I'm going to go with Billy, but it's very, very close. Great arguments all around.
All right, Billy just got a gem towards his Infinity Gauntlet that would take this round in a awkward analogy. Daniel Radford.
Again, everyone knows so much about this, and everyone had such great arguments, from Saruman being an upgrader to the fact that Emperor Palpatine is the person who created the very force that all of these movies are fighting against. To Thanos actually believing in what he's doing, but I will have to say there were a few, I love the Thanos answer. It got knocked out a couple of times because Thanos is yes, he is a villain who believes in what he's doing, but ultimately he is the hero of his own story, and he is there's a few times when he shows his capacity for cruelty, but on the whole, he's mostly just about efficiently killing a bunch of folks so other folks can eat, which does make him a psychopath. But and again, Cucumber, your knowledge base is ridiculous, but that point about the Emperor being the person who makes the entire thing that everyone is fighting against, this evil empire, that got me, so I gotta go with Ken.
All right, so that's one for William Biz Thanos. That's one for Ken.
William Biz is my father.
A lot of good points made. Yeah, again, you guys know your franchises. You are Star Wars, Marvel, and Lord of the Rings here, and you came to play. And at the end of the day, I thought Billy had some great points with the fact that these guys aren't as present, and there are contenders within the franchises for that best villain mantle. But I thought the hero of the story, that that is the delusion of the villain. I thought you nailed that, and the fact that Thanos really was able to chew the scenery and enjoy that presence in that film really cemented it. So I give it to Billy. Billy, you take this point.
Oh, I love the Emperor, man. That was
I love Saruman too, but
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Great knowledge base, everybody. So Marvel is in the lead, 1-0. Lord of the Rings, Star Wars, looking to get on the board. Let's go to question number 2. Whew, man. This question's getting cute. It's another good one.
I hope so. We have a whole show to do.
Yeah. Oh, no. I'm waiting for a stinker. Not yet. Okay. Which franchise has the best action scene? Ooh. Wow. Woo. All right. Question 2. Let's start with player 2. Star Wars, NAPZOK.
I gotta tell you, this was difficult to answer because what defines an action scene and what are we looking at? And I did kind of go with a larger scale sequence, and I went with the Battle of Scarif in 2016's Rogue One: A Star Wars Story. The reason I went with that is I think it took. It took what was established at the Battle of Endor and Return of the Jedi, which has great heart, which is the Luke and Vader fight, but the ground battle and the space battle and everything, and that's kind of what you inspired a lot of imaginations in 1983, myself included. You went to the playground to play Star Wars with your friends. You grabbed your Kenner action figures and play sets and toys to play Star Wars. And then in 2016, we actually finally saw that on the screen. We saw some things we'd never seen. We saw a war film down on Scarif, on the surface of Scarif. We saw Admiral Raddus and the Rebel Alliance launching out, and I'm going to come back and talk about that. We saw a great space battle with things we hadn't seen before on the big screen, and there's some heart and soul to that battle. But it is Star Wars at his imagination peak for a young kid, and we're all kids who are Star Wars fans.
Right on. Okay, the ground and space battle from Rogue One. Billy.
Yeah, so I think to make a great action scene or one that really makes a point, it can't just be, CGI and stunts. It also has to have character, it has to have logic, and it has to have stakes. And I don't think it gets any bigger from a story perspective or from a spectacle perspective than the airport fight in Captain America: Civil War. This is the point where our heroes have come to a fundamental disagreement. And we've been so used to seeing these big third act, the hero takes down the villain, CGI fests and all these other movies. But here you get a big action spectacle right smack dab in the middle of this film. And it's our heroes fighting each other. And there's so much heart. There's so much character. There's a part of you that, the little kid that wants to bang your toys together and see who would win. But there's a part of you from a story perspective that's like, oh man, I know this is cool, but this is going to just unravel the fabric of everything I've seen, and things are just going to go crazy from this point on. So definitely airport.
Oh, okay, the airport battle classic. I love that you're bringing out the kid in me thinking about enacting these battles. Cucumber, what do you got?
I've got the Battle of Pelennor Fields from Return of the King. This is a climactic battle for everybody involved. It's cut against the siege of Gondor, so the city itself is being busted into while all these other ground fighters are happening. You've got thousands and thousands of Rohirrim. Those are the horsemen from Rohan. You've got orcs and uruks utilizing catapults from Saruman, thank you, breaching ladders, and Grond, the immense battering ram. You've got the Haradrim coming on the backs of the Mumakil, or the Oliphants. They're plowing their way through the fighters. They've got a barbed wire lawnmower tusk thing happening in there. I mean, there is gore, but there is also meaning. Every character involved in this battle shines in their own particular way. Everyone has their moment, and it's paced so well. You have different styles of fighting from scene to scene, so out on the field, it's chaos, pure blood and just gore, everything's horrible. But then on the inside, it's this claustrophobic feeling while you're running through the streets of Minas Tirith, and they're getting tighter and tighter as you go higher up the leveled city. You got orcs and trolls, you got creatures, you've got fighters, you've got great choreography, you've got wonderful monsters, and it all matters, because if any of the wrong people die, this is the end of Middle-earth.
This question is too hard to answer. They're all great answers. Fight it out.
Well, I'll tell you what, Billy, you have described a CGI version of a Lincoln Douglas debate. We've got some kind of philosophical differences. Let's go settle it out here, and then we'll move on to the rest of the story. You talk about stakes. I never doubted for 1 second that Iron Man and Captain America were going to start going to dinner with each other. They'll work it out eventually. Friends
haven't
fight.
yet.
Friends fight. We're
They
going to get
haven't
there.
yet.
We're going to get there. Look, Pelennor Fields, wow, it is spectacular. One of my favorite moments in cinema is King Theoden thinking the day is won and then turning to see the Oliphants marching.
Yeah.
What a powerful moment. Hal, Cucumber, but have you ever had a third basket of Red Robin fries? The first two, you're going, wow, this is the best thing ever. Give me some of that fry sauce, campfire sauce. And next thing you know, you're still going. After that moment, after the Oliphants come down, the battle keeps going and going and going to where I am kind of exhausted. And then you got some space ghosts show up and start eating elephants or something like that. And it loses it for me. Perfect up until that moment. And then it goes just a little too long.
I think there are some great moments in Pelennor Fields. I love the I'm No Man where she takes off the helmet.
Great moment, yeah.
I love the speech before it, but those are moments. And when you look at the greatest battle in all of Lord of the Rings, the answer is Helm's Deep, because that one is more visceral, it's more guttural, the stakes are so high, but it's so personal. By the time we get to Pelennor Fields, A, I'm tired, B, it has the worst CGI slide down an elephant I've ever seen, but probably will ever see also. And C, the Deus Ex Machina of the Ghost Army, it just makes you think like, well, why did I just watch all this? Why didn't you guys just go hide and wait until the little zombie guys
some
came?
logistics
What
to
a
it,
waste of human casualty.
Cucumber, anything to say about the Helm's Deep remark?
Well, yeah, it was a very hard choice to choose Pelennor Fields over Helm's Deep, and it is a wonderful, beautiful battle. It's very stressful. It has the best beginning, I think, of any battle I've seen on screen. But once that first arrow flies, it's like everything else. Until that wall blows up. And yeah, it's stressful, it's fine. But again, the elves come in, it's like boo, 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 everything's fine.
How did that go again, Cucumber?
Boo, 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 boo. But let's talk about Scarif. I remember all of my favorite moments from the Battle of Scarif in the trailer that they cut out that were no longer seen anywhere. I mean, Chirrut Umway's moment was cool. Baze Malbus was just an excuse to hold a turret. And the ATMKs, for whatever reason, were made out of tinfoil. Like, a lot of the big things that should have been scary and crushing everybody were just kind of like, everything was missing.
Look,
No one was getting hit.
You're also talking about AT-ACTs, which were transports. They're not as heavily armored, but actually.
Here's what I would say
no,
about
the
the
MKs
Battle
were
of...
the walkers, yes?
Here's what I would say about the Battle of Scarif.
Yeah.
I think you nailed it, where it was done so well in other Star Wars movies that meant so much more, but then we got to Rogue One and it became reheated leftovers, literally to the point where they just took pilots from other Star Wars movies that you recognized and shoved them right in there.
Yeah.
It
First
felt
of all,
like a TV dinner of the Star Wars battles
First of
that I
all,
really
you leave
liked.
Hungry Man out of this. It did nothing to you, sir. This is about the Star Wars story, the overall story. Gold Leader, Garvin Dave Drace, which is Red Leader. Then you got John Dutch Vander, which is Gold Leader. They are heroes to Star Wars. To have them there, you see the Blue Squadron, something homage to the original novel. And then the moment is Admiral Raddus coming out of hyperspace and proclaiming for the first time that this is the Rebel Alliance. That's the first time. When you see that crawl on A New Hope, rebels striking from hidden base, score their first victory, this is that moment. It is so important to the story of Star Wars.
But here's the thing. There's nothing viscerally or visually or anything about that moment, that battle, that stands out. And it looks like every other Star Wars battle.
A Hammerhead Corvette takedown an Imperial Star Destroyer?
Dude, it looks like a better remastered version of the Battle of Endor from Return of the Jedi. There's nothing new in that sequence to make me go, wow, I haven't seen that before in a Star Wars movie.
That's a great
But you know
point.
what? There's tons of new things in the Civil War airport. In fact, we got
let's
character...
talk about the airport for a
let's
second.
talk
I
about
haven't
it.
seen
Bring it on.
I haven't seen computer-generated superheroes rumbling and stumbling over everybody before.
Dude.
Cucumber, help me out
Yeah,
here.
the worst thing about that particular fight is there's
Sure.
actual dialogue saying, yeah, we don't want to hurt them. So you know they're pulling punches from the get-go. You're just watching them slap fight each other for 20 minutes.
That once they line up and they say, Mr. Stark, they're not stopping, those punches are no longer pulled. Stark gave them a chance, but you get to see, first of all, you get to see the first time Spider-Man in the MCU. So you already get an injection of excitement right off the bat. Second of all, we get a little bit of character development too, because we get to see, not only do we see Natasha switch sides, which has huge ramifications for not only the rest of that movie, the rest of the MCU, but you also get to see a really cool skill from Ant-Man going to Giant Man, something that fans have been wanting to see for the minute that they announced.
That's another excellent point, Billy. I have been wanting to see that since I saw Animal do it in the first Muppet movie.
Yes!
Back in 1978 or whatever it was. I mean, I've seen that before. Oh, he goes big. Wow, that's great.
You talk about childhood fantasies. Did you ever think in your life that Spider-Man would be stopping the Winter Soldier and Falcon in the middle of a fight? Did you ever think that Black Panther was going to go one-on-one with Hawkeye? Not only was it this really cool moment for just the inner child, but we're now going into Endgame, and we are still feeling the effects of this one amazing action sequence that they have not been able to put themselves back together. And if this had not happened, this amazing action sequence, who knows? The greatest villain of all time, which we've already established as Thanos, may not have been able to get his plan across had this action sequence never happened.
Is this how we want our heroes to behave?
Right.
Shouldn't they be able to just talk it out like a bunch of adults?
That's the problem. Our heroes are human, and this, not only do we get the stunts, we get the explosions, we get everything we want from an action scene, but we also get to see our heroes be humans, and that's what makes us relate to those characters. That's why there's character in this moment, because I kind of agree with Stark sometimes when I watch it. I kind of agree with Cap other times I watch it. But the sequence itself, every time you watch it, it's something new, because depending on where you are in your life, you don't know whose side you're going to match up on. That's what makes it so dynamic and interesting.
All right, let's shift gears. Ken, go ahead and give us final thoughts.
I'm talking about the core of the rebellion. I'm talking about imagination at its peak. I'm talking about things that we've been wanting to see in Star Wars for a long time, just in terms of battle, bringing back classic characters and their stakes. If they don't do this, the Death Star starts taking people out. And hey, yeah, we know what happens, but to actually see it play out in front of you, it was 30 plus years of anticipation showing up on the screen. Finally, Return of the King battle, that's good. I go to Helm's Deep, though. It's a little bit shorter, more to the point, and you know, your fight was good. I like undercards too, but I'm here for main events.
All right. Ken with a shots fired there at the end. Billy, MCU.
Look, here's what I have to say about your choices. I think Pelennor Fields, ultimately, by the time we get to it, it's too much. It fizzles out way too quickly, and we're still left with 45 more minutes of it, and then it ends even more disappointingly with zombies. Ken, I think the Battle of Scarif is not, maybe if I'm a galactic citizen, I might learn about it in history class, but as a film goer, it is the least remembered Star Wars space battle that I can think of. It's already been eclipsed in scope by Revenge of the Sith. It's already been eclipsed in tension by attacking the first Death Star. With the airport scene, what I get is things that I haven't seen before. Spider-Man coming in, tussling with Captain America, going back and forth, but then also getting that pinch of heart. Where are you from, kid? Queens. Huh, Brooklyn. So not only do I get my fights, I get my explosions with Ant-Man doing all his stuff, but I also get the heart, and I also get the story ramifications. It means something not only to this movie, but the Marvel Cinematic Universe in large.
Thank you, MCU. All right, Lord of the Rings, Cucumber.
All right, I mean, you're making points about character in fights, right? And I feel like I mentioned that everyone shines in this battle, every single person. Theoden, you mentioned his rousing speech. Eowyn, she swipes a sword from an orc while on horseback, slices the Achilles tendons of an Oliphant, and then goes on to behead a fell beast, kill the Witch King of Angmar, which you also mentioned as a wonderful badass moment, not just in fantasy fiction, but just as a badass female in any role. Pippin saves Faramir from Denethor going crazy when it cuts back to inside there. Merry and Pippin both prove themselves in battle. Gandalf talks about the promise of peace after death. You're tackling life, death, afterlife, all that stuff. The dead men of Dunharrow, which you guys are so quick to make fun of, these were traitors, these were murderers, and this was their one chance at redemption, to finally serve their true king. So this is also Aragorn stepping into the role he was born to be in. This was them all saving the world together, and they all had their own individual fights to overcome. And they all did it, and it was beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Time. Wow. I feel like I've been through an epic action sequence right here, being privy to this. Dan Murrow, factualities.
Yeah, again, this is about passion. I did check. It was really just a courtesy check to make sure Ken got his golden red leaders, which of course he did. But again, this is a fight based on passion, and factually, again, everyone very strong. So I feel like Danielle and you, Hal, I'm really just listening and determining on my own.
Right on. Danielle Radford, please weigh in with your thoughts on this round.
I mean, all of these arguments are amazing, and you all had such great arguments. Unfortunately, I do feel like Cucumber, I was waiting to hear, I guess, more about some of the impact of the Lord of the Rings battle scenes on things that came after it. But I didn't get to hear that. Also, there weren't a lot of... They kept hammering you on how long the scenes were, and I wish I would have heard a little bit more from that. So unfortunately, that took out Cucumber. And Billy was just like... Every time someone had a point, he was just knocking them. And I know this is usually what I do when you say someone's about to lose, but no, I think Billy got the point for me on this one.
Good build
I'm
up.
changing it up. He was right. Yes, there were punches pulled, but it was something that affected the rest of the movies that came after it, and there was a lot of heart and a lot of new and interesting things introduced into the universe. So, well done, Billy.
Okay, that's one for Billy. Yeah, you all chose epic sequences. I agree with what Danielle said. The length of the Battle of Pelennor Fields was hit a few times, even though, you acknowledged that there were amazing moments, epic moments, but then, it kind of dragged, and we didn't really do anything to combat that, Cucumber, and it came down to Ken and Billy to me at the end, and I felt like, best action scene. It's not most epic, it's not most important, it's, I don't know, just the essence of the question. I felt like Billy got me the most excited with the specific moments. The first Spidey in action, Natasha turning sides, Ant-Man going big. I mean, those moments, oh yeah, that just got me the juices flowing for action.
Always after your juices, Hal.
Always after the juice. Well, you got them this time. 3 great choices, but Billy, you're getting the point. MCU out to a 2-0 lead.
Wow. Cucumber,
Yeah.
you had my sword. You had my sword.
Thanks, Brady.
Your deep knowledge.
It just
is
hurts.
It's great.
So
It hurts because that
incredibly
Gandalf
impressive.
moment talking about death.
Oh, I forgot about that.
When you brought that up, I was like, oh,
I might have
no.
conceded the point
Yeah.
if I remembered that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not too late. Not too late.
Three great choices. No, I remember being in Rogue One and that air, that space and ground battle being like, okay, this is good stuff. But yep, Billy sold me. Question 3, and it's 2 for the MCU. Lord of the Rings and Star Wars looking to get on the board. And question number 3: what's the most upsetting, tragic death from any franchise? The most upsetting and tragic death. Question 3, start with player 3. William Business.
All right, I'm gonna cut right to the chase here. I'm gonna say it's Peter Parker / Spider-Man from Infinity War, and I'm gonna pull an Eminem 8 Mile. I'm gonna go ahead and address the things I already know you guys are gonna say about it, and just get it out of the way right quick. Oh, he's gonna be back in the next one. Oh, he's got another movie. Well, the question is, what's the most upsetting and tragic death? So I'm just looking at the death. I'm not looking what's the quickest rebound from death, what's the longest lasting death. It's what's the most tragic. And the thing that makes Peter Parker's death in Infinity War so tragic is that he is so human. He is a child. He is a 15-year-old, and because of his spider powers, he feels what's happening to him before everyone else just disintegrates as it's happening. He knows it's coming, and he does something that we don't really get to see from any of our comic book heroes or our action heroes. We see fear because he doesn't know what's coming. He doesn't want to leave. He doesn't want to face death, and it's here. And to see a child just so terrified out of their mind, and there's nothing anyone can do about it. Death comes for him. It gave everyone the chills. Peter Parker.
All right, Peter Parker from Infinity War. Cucumber.
Boromir, Fellowship of the Ring. He made his mistakes, but he immediately started making up for them, letting Merry and Pippin run away, took the hits, he had a rough life, man. You know, he was trying to do the best for his crazy-ass father who had way too high expectations for him. He wanted the weapon for his own people to save everyone. He was selfless. He was bold. He's valiant. And his one mistake led to the splitting of the Fellowship, and he saved them, though. You know, he kept taking arrow after arrow. He kept getting back up to make sure they got away safely. And that's what I want to see on the screen, is a true hero. Someone who is also human, someone who also makes those mistakes. He is emotional, and in his last moments, he acknowledges his weakness, and he accepts Aragorn as his king, which is something that he had sworn not to do because the king abandoned them. Aragorn left. So it was up to him to take over and take care of Gondor. So, anyway, beautiful moment.
Thank you, Cucumber. It sounds like you're getting a little bit, welling up a little bit there, Cucumber. You all right?
Yeah, I'm good.
Okay, all right. Hang in there for the rest of the fight. Ken, Star Wars.
Hal, I really sat and thought about this question. Upsetting, tragic. What in Star Wars is going to come out of nowhere, change kind of your worldview, and absolutely upset you? Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi, in the middle of the Battle of Endor. AT-STs are running wild. It's a trap up above in space. Things aren't looking good. And suddenly, out of the blue, imagine as you're 8, 9 years old watching Star Wars Return of the Jedi for the first time, there's an explosion. Boom! Dust settles, dust clears, the smoke goes away, and there is a dead Ewok.
Oh my God. Oh.
Nanta the Ewok.
Oh no, that's still
Nanta
terrible.
the Ewok. This traumatized an entire generation of Star Wars fans and continues to do so. Those are cuddly teddy bears. That's the biggest complaint against Ewoks. Well, when you're 8 or 9, you're like, hey, cuddly teddy bears. And now one is dying in front of you, and his buddy is and holds him. It stays with you, much like that death that's on your t-shirt right now, Optimus Prime. That effed up an entire generation of kids in 1986. Nanta the Ewok is the most upsetting, tragic death in all of the franchises.
Okay, 3 deaths. We'll have 1 survivor emerge from this round. Fight it out.
I believe Nanta used to be known as Corpsey the Ewok because she didn't get a name until the early 2000s, right?
Yeah, well, Nanta was also the name the other Ewok makes. I totally agree with that. It's not a Wicket, it's not a Logray, it's not a Chief Cherba, but the point is there's a dead, felt creature there, and that's kind of tragic to a lot of people.
Here's the thing. You say
As a felted friend, I would like to say that my problem is not the fact that they're teddy bears. Dude, they wear bones. They play drums on people's skulls, and they're perfectly happy eating people. They are not teddy bears. They're little monsters.
By the way, as an 8 or 9-year-old, I wasn't like, oh, cute, cuddly bears. Like, I hate these things. I say go scorched earth on these Ewoks. The more, the merrier.
Your Honor, I would like to strike Billy's bitterness from this. You can't take his horrible childhood and put it into this match. That's not fair.
Overruled. It's all fair game.
But here's the thing. I wanted to. If this question was what is the most honorable death, Boromir, I'd get up and I'd walk out and I'd get in JT's car and drive home. All right. I don't think for a second though his death is tragic. I think he earned this death in a way, and he redeemed himself in death. And one of the most going out on your shield. That phrase. This is the definition of that. And he did what he had to do because he had lived a pretty bad life. Not a bad life, but he had made some mistakes. Yeah, you're right. Maybe some things that may have tore apart the Fellowship, but I think that was already happening, and I think that was already meant to happen. That is a great death. It moves me every time, but not in the sense of upsetting or tragic. Just like that's the way he should have gone out. That's honorable. As far as Peter Parker, all right, it became a meme. That's good, and I'm not even gonna. Yeah, you're right. I'm not gonna say, hey, he's probably coming back. It was it, but it just there's a lot of. It was the leadoff hitter for a great lineup. All right, it might be Vince Coleman, but I'm here for Willie McGee later on. Some of the people that die later on. It's just
Spider-Man is not a Hawkeye dude. He's kind of one of the core people. Not only that, but the fact that we saw all these people disintegrating, and the fact that a child went, and we saw the fear of a child. Now yours with Nanta, I don't know. Yours just is so oddly out of place in the rest of the tone of that movie. It comes out of nowhere.
Making it upsetting and tragic.
No, I don't want Deer Hunter for 3 seconds in the middle of. It wasn't upsetting. It's more confusing. It's like, okay, fine, then move
It's
on.
the cost
With
of
yours,
war.
I think Boromir is a great character, and I love that in the Two Towers Extended we get to see a little bit more of what made Boromir great. But we don't get any of that by the time that Boromir gets picked off. So at that point, I'm like, oh, Boromir he's kind of a prick. Yeah, he had like a cool 5 minutes before he went, but I'm not that sad that he's gone. Like, the Fellowship's breaking up anyway, whether he's here or not. I'm more upset that all the friends aren't going to be together more than I am that Boromir's gone. He was kind of just like another dude. He was like Dollar Tree Aragorn.
If the band's breaking up, he's Timothy B. Schmidt. You're like, all right, you laid some good bass tracks, but we're all right. It's an Eagles joke.
Yeah, he had some good
Eagles joke.
I can't tell you why. That was a good.
He taught the hobbits how to defend themselves.
Yeah, and then he tried to take one out to get the ring. Like, we never really fully loved Boromir because the story just couldn't let us. We always had to keep Boromir at an arm's distance because we knew the ring was getting to him. So when he dies, I don't feel like how I've spent so much time with Peter and gotten to know and love him between Civil War and Homecoming, that losing him in the most horrifying way, a way that I would react, a way that anyone would react, that hurts. Yours, I don't know who this Ewoks are. Ewoks are annoying. They would probably kill anyone. It doesn't matter just to eat them. They were gonna eat Han Solo. If they had ate Han Solo, would you still feel so bad about this?
Look, man, when you're fighting the Empire, it takes not just a village, it takes a Bright Tree village, which is why the Ewoks come in there. And it is the cost of war. It is the cost of all living creatures bounding together to fight the Empire.
No,
it is a stunning reminder. But
hero,
then also,
the real hero is Wedge, because none of this means anything if they can't get the shield generator down. So, I don't really care at all about what the Ewoks are doing.
Wedge didn't do that, sir. He took the North Power regulator.
That's what I'm saying. He's got to shut down the shield generator. None of this even matters in the first place.
And the Ewoks were the one that made it possible. But again, we're talking about upsetting and tragic, Hal. We're talking about upsetting and tragic. You're like, yay, I love the good guys running. What the hell? This Ewok is burning with laser fire and his friends crying in front of him.
Yeah, that's a more WTF moment, not a sad moment.
That stays with you. And like how Large Marge still scares me in Pee-wee's Big Adventure, this one stays with me, much like Optimus Prime. And Peter Parker, it's part of the story. You're saying we're connected to him a little bit. I get that, but we knew this kind of thing was coming. Thanos was winning.
Did you really think that? Sure, maybe even if you thought, oh, Peter Parker could go, every other hero just was like, oh shit, and then they disappear. Even Star-Lord's just like, oh no, and then he goes. But Peter's like, oh God, Mr. Stark, no, please, I don't feel good. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I don't want to go. I'm sorry, because he knows there's just no fighting it. What a horrifying,
make this your final thought. Go ahead and roll it into that.
What a horrifying revelation, not only for just a person who doesn't really know what's going on, but for a child who doesn't know what's going on. With Boromir, again, honorable, noble, but it's not really that tragic or upsetting, because at that point, I don't really care about Boromir. It's a little bit too little too late. I don't get to know Boromir until way after he's dead. And for Nanta, look, Ewoks are annoying. This isn't like a sad, tragic, upsetting moment. It's just more, it's like, why is this here? This doesn't fit. This is weird. And if you're going to do it, kill more of them. Get rid of them. I'm tired of them.
All right, around to Cucumber with your final thoughts.
So my thing about the Ewoks are they were soldiers who signed on for this fight. That Ewok was gonna be a hamburger either way, and they made the choice to get in there and die. Sorry, Nanta. Shrug. As for Spider-Man, I mean, yeah, he got, actually, if anything, Spider-Man got a gift. He got a few more seconds of life than anybody else. Everyone else was gone in a half a moment. There was no pain on his face. Like you said, just fear. He's like, oh crap. And then, poof, gone. What a blessing to die like that. Right? Right. As for Boromir, I get that you guys don't know him that well, but I do. And the thing is, he finally made a shift back to being a perfectly good person. And that's when we lose him. When he's regained himself, all of his soul and all of his good choices, everything's back. He's the biggest, he's the strongest. He would have been the best equipped to protect the Fellowship, to protect Frodo. And he had come to his senses, and that's when we lose him. That is tragic, by definition.
Ken.
Boromir's death is one that affected me, but it affected me in that way of that's a warrior going out on his shield. It's a lot of honor to it, and I can respect that. If I go, that's how I'd like to go, with a bunch of orc arrows in my chest, and I'm still fighting. All right, Peter Parker. Look, I get it's upsetting, but it reminded me of Chili's 2 meal at an airport. I don't feel so good. This isn't going well. All right, I get it. I've been there.
Hold on one sec. Chili's, Red Robin.
I've got a problem.
Noted.
Nanta affected a generation. Nanta did come out of nowhere, and I know Billy's bitter and doesn't like those Ewoks, but when you're 8 or 9 and you're looking out into the future of your life, you're always going to remember that time where it's a conversation Star Wars fans have of that Ewok that died and the other one's crying over him. That stays with you. It's an iconic, Hal, iconic image.
Time. Ken scarred for life by the death of an Ewok. Who will walk away the survivor of this round? Dan, were there facts?
I mean, there were a lot of facts. There's one fact that I would like to get, though, from Ken.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
How many Ewoks can you name?
That comes and goes. There's Princess Kanisa, Wicket T, Warwick, Logray the Medicine Man, Chief Chirpa, Paplu, who's drunk and owes me money, and Tebow are among some of them, yeah.
Tebow?
Tebow.
Tim?
Yeah. He was the religious Ewok. No one really knows that.
Oh, okay. I was just curious. I knew one Ewok's name.
Yeah.
I knew that one Ewok had a name prior to today.
Wicket, right?
There's more.
Yeah, everyone knows Wicket.
Everyone knows Wicket.
Nippet the Walkling. There's others, yes.
Nip at the Walkling, of course. Who doesn't know Nip at the
did
Cheek
Walkling?
in the Ewok Adventure.
Who didn't have that action figure?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, they know they're here
yeah.
because they know their
Yes,
things.
they do. Star Wars, Lord of the Rings, MCU, all repping hard today. Yeah, this was a good one. Ken, you actually made a compelling argument for one. I was like, why didn't you choose Han Solo or something like that? But you took me to that moment in the theater, like a child seeing that image, the cuddly thing now dead. So you really made me think about it. Billy, that Peter Parker was a real heartbreaker. But at the end of the day, Cucumber really spoke to me. I almost took points away because you didn't play the Sean Bean aspect of it. You needed to. I mean, in the future, you got to drop the Sean Bean card because he dies like no one else and as much as anyone else combined. But the arrow after arrow and that character, his allegiance going one way and then another way, so there were convictions and there was a real spirit to that character. And just when you thought he was on the side of right, he gets got. And that really spoke to me. So I go Cucumber in this one. Danielle.
I gotta agree with you on this because it's. I appreciate that the Ewoks are cute and cuddly, but not all felted friends are friends. Some of them are fiends, and those dudes eat people. So, so while I do appreciate that they're super cute, also as a child did not do anything for me. But I'm also bitter. It's fine. And I just think that Cucumber's argument of, because it is tragic, he was turned by the ring, and he does, right as he becomes himself again, is when he sacrifices himself. I just think that Cucumber had the stronger argument here. I got to go with that.
Cucumber, you get the point. So that's Lord of the Rings 1, Marvel 2, Star Wars. You know what? One of the great franchises.
It's going to be all right.
But today, yes, they've blown up your Death Star. And MCU, Lord of the Rings, moving into the speed round. All right. Cucumber, you ready for this?
Sure. Yes.
Billy Biz.
Born ready.
All right. Marvel, Lord of the Rings. Again, I'll throw out the question. First person to answer will get the chance to elaborate first, and they'll get 20 seconds, and then 10-second rebuttals. It's the first to 4. Marvel / Billy Biz is up 2-1 over Lord of the Rings / Cucumber. Here we go. First question of the speed round. What is the scariest monster in these two franchises?
I'll go. Shelob.
I will say the space dogs, as Bucky calls them in Infinity War. Thanos' sentries.
Okay, so we She-Ra?
Shelob.
Shelob.
Spawn of Ungoliant.
Not
I forget his
She-Ra.
full titles.
Shelob and the space dogs. Okay, Cucumber, you spoke first. 20 seconds begin when you speak now.
Shelob is a giant spider, like I said, spawn of Ungoliant, the mother of all spiders. She's silent, enormous, incredibly powerful, has a stinger that paralyzes, and she eats orcs, humans, anything that gets in her way alike.
Clock keeps going.
Oh yeah, and she's she's super smelly. I know she's got horns in the book, but she doesn't in the movie. It's a cool thing.
All right. Billy Viz with Marvel Space Dog.
One of the scariest shots in all of Infinity War is when all of the space dogs are coming out of the spaceships. They don't give an F about their own safety. They will kill themselves if they have to just to get through. They are mindless dogs with so many sharp teeth, a bunch of different arms. They can get you from any point. Shelob, all I need is a good flashlight shining in her face and she'll run away.
Well, that's me.
10-second rebuttal.
Yeah, Shelob, but the thing is, you'd have to find her first. She can be crawling above you, below you, anywhere. You get stuck in her webs, you're screwed. And a flashlight ain't bright enough. You need a Star of Elendil, my friend, and they're not giving those out for free.
Pretty sure Stormbreaker could take out your Star of Elendil like that. And also, Shelob, all I need is a big can of Raid. Space dogs, there's so many of them, they're going to surround me. Even the Avengers were at a point down on their luck because they were going to get hurt unless Thor came.
All right. Wow. Scariest monster. Dan Merle.
Well met on both sides, I think.
Right.
Just for pure description alone, I thought that Cucumber elaborated a little bit more on the specific elements of what makes Shelob so scary, and I can't give Billy credit for a Stormbreaker versus Light of Elendil battle, but I have no way of knowing which way that would go.
Stormbreaker would win because it's a glass bottle full of liquid.
There you go.
Well, that was.
No electioneering.
I mean, it was against himself. I don't know.
Thank you.
True.
Being honest, that hurt.
Keep it together, Q.
Yeah,
That's all right.
I don't. Now I gotta say Billy.
Yes!
Well, no, I'm saying
come
that
on.
it was very close, and the Cucumber. He hurt
man.
himself.
That has nothing to do with Shelob, though. That is an accessory.
Okay, that's one for Billy.
That's some bull.
That might be a movie fights history.
Oh, wow.
Cucumber, maybe quit while you're ahead.
Yeah.
Danielle.
I'm sticking with my vote for Cucumber. Billy, as funny as your counters were, they were, in my opinion, they were more funny than they were effective. The Cucumber really had very specific points. You can't be caught in the web. You need a very specific, hard-to-find weapon. Whether or not it's breakable, it's still specific and hard to find. And the fact that she can be anywhere and you would never know. So I'm sticking with Cucumber.
Okay, so it's 1-1. You both made compelling arguments. Billy, I thought yours lent itself more to the scene and the action that was happening in the scene and the number of these beasts, whereas Cucumber got me more afraid of that one creature. I thought it was truer to the question, scariest monster in these two franchises. So I'm going Cucumber. We are all tied up. It's a great moment in sports.
Oh, shut up.
Here we go.
Shelob and the Space Dogs, by the way, is a fantastic.
That's our band name. We're no longer the Dance. We're Shelob and the Space Dogs.
I love it. I love it. For the rest of this game, you guys are Shelob and the Space Dogs. Nice. Playing at
The whiskey.
at the Whiskey Go in Hollywood. Okay, here we go.
Coachella.
Headlining Coachella. Here we go, or a side stage maybe.
Side station.
Yeah,
Yep.
definitely side stage.
Question number 2. Which franchise is most improved by adding a character from your opponent's franchise to it? Okay? Which character would be most improved? Which franchise is most improved by adding a character from your opponent's franchise to it?
So what are we just supposed to say? What character we would choose to add?
how would adding a
Sure,
character
okay.
improve your franchise? And whoever imparts to us the most improvement, the coolest scenarios, etc., will get the point. Okay.
I'm gonna. So I'll start. I'll say the fully formed version of Sauron in the next Thor movie. Is that what you're looking for?
Are we asking for a specific here?
I think a specifics
Yeah.
are very.
I want specifics.
Yeah,
Great,
I
okay.
think I would
Okay,
respond
so
to
Alright,
I would add.
specifics.
I would
Pitch
add.
me, baby.
I would add
Great.
Sauron to Thor 4.
Great. So a fully formed Sauron in the next incarnation of Thor. Okay, and Cucumber, who from the Avengers world?
Doctor Strange.
Doctor Strange. Okay, so we heard Sauron and Thor first. Cucumber, you will go second for Doctor Strange. Billy, whenever you're ready.
I think Middle Earth fits really well into the 9 realms that we've already established in the Thor canon. Having Sauron be the big bad of that movie, we finally get to see him. We only got a glimpse of what he looks like at his full power, but now we get a full movie. He's got the One Ring, and this One Ring can control all the 9 realms. He could be the most deadly force, even more than Thanos. He could be more than Hela.
I'll start with that's not how the ring works. Secondly, Doctor Strange, he can come in and he can alter reality. He can, if depending on who got to him first, he could be a great threat to either side of the War of the Ring, because he wouldn't know who's who. If Saruman got to him first while he's still Saruman the White, you could have an insanely dark wizard on the side of Mordor. Or, you know, if he were to bump into Aragorn first or any of the other lighter side, he could, the push and pull of people.
The last thing I want is Doctor Strange anywhere near the One Ring, because we saw how quickly he'll give up an Infinity Stone. But I want to see full-powered Stormbreaker Thor go up against full-powered Sauron, the fate of the entire...
Oh, Thor would smash in half like nobody's business. Sauron would launch him to the moon or use his crazy sorcerer powers to just kill him on the spot. He's a Maiar. Or no, actually he's not. Oh, crap.
All right, time.
We wouldn't have known that, babe.
Yeah,
Someone would call me on
that's
it.
true. Somebody would.
The comments would be. You're
yes. Okay, so you both had some really cool choices and laid out some super fun scenarios. Like just the synergy between that you showed with these two franchises coming together. Like that was really impressive, just off the cuff. At the end of the day, like Billy, like you tried to ding him with Doctor Strange would like be pulled by the ring. That's kind of cool. Like that like makes me, oh yeah, that makes it a little dicey. It's it's not black and white. And for me, Cucumber laid out the more compelling scenarios and had the bigger swipes on you. So for me, Cucumber's getting that point. Dan Merle.
I feel like Billy laid out what the pitch that he gave to me sounded very much like just Thanos. He's controlling a thing that controls everything, and Thor's gonna fight him with Stormbreaker. Whereas I thought that Cucumber, I'm legitimately intrigued. Who is gonna get the Doctor Strange first?
Yeah.
You want him to be a hero. You don't want him to be a villain. I found that to be a much more compelling
And who
pitch.
doesn't love Stranger in a Strange Land?
Stranger in a Strange Land. I have to
No,
go
that's a good
also with
pitch.
Cucumber.
Yep.
Yep, Cucumber, you have vaulted into the lead 3-2. Our felted friend making a fine showing today. This is game point, by the way. Billy, you need this to keep it going for the pride of the MCU.
I'm going to try my best, Hal.
Lord of the Rings takes this one. You take the franchise title. Here we go. Which franchise has the single coolest line of dialogue?
Wow.
I am no man.
I am no man.
Single coolest line of dialogue.
So what will it be?
That's my secret cap. I'm always angry.
All right.
I don't know.
Okay. Cucumber, you spoke first, so 20 seconds begin when you speak now.
The Witch King of Angmar is undone by his own arrogance because he is so powerful. He knows no man can kill him. So when Eowyn pulls back her helmet and she says, I am no man, he knows he's done. That's it. That's it for him. And that is such a cool freaking moment for her, who's been talked down to the entire time in both the both films that she's in. She finally.
Shut up, Ken.
Spider-Man can't save you now.
Look, that line is all semantics. It could have been Aragorn. He could have taken it off and be like, "Well, I'm no ordinary man," and shoved it in the face. It doesn't matter. Like, the moment isn't earned because she's never really fought the Witch King before. There's no history there. Whereas I'm always angry. We've been wanting to know how his banner kept it together. It's been the secret this whole movie, and then finally we learn the rage that he always has. It's always inside of us. It's about controlling the anger.
No history? The Witch King just killed her uncle, King Theoden. He's lying on the floor, bleeding out. So she's got plenty of reason to step up and take care of this business, and she does it so very well.
Does she transform into a big green Hulk after she says it? No, she doesn't. We get to see not only a cool line delivered really cool, but then we also get to see the transformation of the Hulk we haven't seen as a hero that whole movie. Fuck.
You used our one. Well done, Billy.
All right. Woo, how about it? Danielle Radford.
But cucumber.
I tried.
I mean, this is just one of those ones where on the knowledge alone, you ain't getting cuke.
Yeah,
That's not happening.
I felt like Duke and Rocky
member
IV during that one, watching Apollo and Ivan Drago in the
Throwing
ring.
the towel.
Honestly, though,
our other member of Shelob and
Yeah.
the Space Dogs, Dan Murrell.
Yeah, Cucumber just, it's too much.
and like
it's
even
too much,
correct
Billy.
me if I'm wrong, Dan, but like I couldn't even think of a line in Marvel that would have been like there were meaningful ones, but cool. Like I could have done this all day.
We Have a
maybe.
Hulk is a pretty good one, maybe.
I mean,
that might
I
have
feel like
worked.
Tony Stark's got to have a grip of good lines.
He has a lot of one-liners, but there's like I knew that was a that
Yeah,
was a
I
rough
have no
thought.
man is
Cucumber,
pretty.
you have taken the day. You have dropped your opponents into the pit at Mordor. And may I raise your arm gently in victory?
Oh, certainly. You take my hand.
Oh,
There you go.
there we go.
Thank you.
Cucumber, an excellent showing from our ex-champion.
I'm gonna get back.
Wow, how about it? But you guys made me want to rewatch so much stuff because, like, you really laid out true fandom. That was awesome. Cucumber, go ahead and give some shout-outs. Tell people where they can find you. And
sure.
congrats again on your epic victory.
Thank you. You can find me, my fellow felted friends, and some of our meatbag fellows at twitch.tv/Perception Studio. And then that's my Twitter down there if you got any questions. Find me.
And Percival has a question. Cucumber, would you give me a little kiss on the cheek?
I found this horrifically offensive, but yes.
Oh, thank you. Hoot hoot.
Hoot hoot indeed.
Ken NAPZOK, everyone knows that you are a Star Wars fan on that peerless, and thank you for coming in and defending that franchise.
Hey.
Always pleasure to hear you talk Star Wars.
Thank you, sir. You can hear me do it more at Force Center Podcast, Collider Jedi Council, other spots. Go to Ken NAPZOK across all social media platforms, including YouTube, with my Motivations with Ken, which will fail to motivate you.
Right on. I love a good bad motivation. That's great. Yeah, I could use a little bit of that in my life. Thank you, sir. Billy Biz, you took it to the limit. Good stuff.
That was a good
One
fight.
more time.
Yeah.
Good fight.
Please go ahead and tell folks where they can find you.
Yeah, on Twitter at Billy A. Patterson, Hot Takes with Billy Biz, Season 1 finale with Dan Murrell talking Lost World Jurassic Season 2 premiere, I'll be talking with this guy about Rogue One. So a lot of cool stuff coming up.
Heck yeah, good times. You're going to talk about the big space ground battle in that?
Yeah.
No spoilers. Thank you. Shelob and the Space Dogs, thank you so much for holding it down over there, a.k.a. the Dan Cam. Dan Murrell, I'm just glad you made it here after your epic Christmas.
I know.
time.
We had such a wonderful Christmas. It was magical. I can't believe we all had to come back here so soon afterwards. Thank everyone, really, for coming back here on December 25th.
7th.
Yeah.
December 27th.
This was so much fun. It made me kind of like got my juices flowing for like what other franchises would we throw in here? Like Mission Impossible, the Fast franchise. I don't know. Maybe.
I mean, obviously, I think the DC universe
Yes.
of
Yeah.
films across all decades would be wonderful.
Have
I'd love
Sasha
to see
come in
that.
and talk about some Fast and Furious.
I
Yeah.
would love to
Roth.
play Star Trek.
Yeah.
I would go to
Oh.
bat for Star Trek any
Yeah.
day of the week. Would love to fight Star Trek in this kind of a setting.
And
Yep.
if anybody would like to hear my thoughts on the Breakin' franchise, I would also be willing to come in and do it.
Daniel Radford, please tell us.
Dances on the Turbo dances on the ceiling, and he can float a broom. So,
Please tell everybody where they can find you and all that good stuff.
yeah, please follow me on Twitter, follow me on Instagram at Danielle_Radford. Join my Patreon, we do fun things. And if you ever wanted to hear more of my thoughts about the Breakin' franchise, and I have so many, then you can find us on Patreon. But seriously, Turbo is magical. He can dance on the ceiling and he can float a broom, and I just don't see Thanos fighting that.
You know what? Great point. Maybe we'll see that one day right here at this table.
He also saved a rec center. When's the last time any of you guys saved a rec center?
Never.
True.
Never.
Great
Take
point.
that, Boromir.
I want to thank you for watching. Let us know what franchises you'd want to see battled on this show. And please hit me up on Twitter and Instagram at Hal Rudnick. #OwlNation. Hoot hoot. We'll see you next time, everybody. Bye-bye.